Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Rodea the Sky Soldier playthrough. It's time for Chapter 3! And this part may be looking slightly longer than the other parts we've seen so far, and that's because we're doing more than one chapter in this part. In fact, we're doing 3, because the other 2 are just that short. So, I've tried to kind of make it so that this all works as smoothly as possible. I kind of really desperately wanted to do one part per chapter, because that makes sense. But when I saw that there were quite a few chapters that were, you know, less than 10 minutes long, some of them being like 5 or 3 minutes long, it was just like, well, then I'm just kind of really padding time out, just to sort of... And also, who wants to watch a single 3-minute video of a video game on a day? It needs to be a little bit more than that. So, where levels were that short, I smushed them together into a single part. But it'll work out all in the end, so that's fine. But yeah, we've had a bit of an oil leak, which is rather disappointing. Not a whole lot we can do about it, unfortunately, but we'll manage, don't worry about it. Now, Rodea's levels kind of vary in what they ask you to do. Some ask you to get to the end of the level, others ask you to collect items and then kind of return to a location with them, or just collect them in general. Others ask you to collect items and then place them somewhere. So there is a reasonably nice variety when it comes to the way the levels are, and I think because you only generally come across each type of level perhaps once within each world. I say world in massive air quotation marks, if only because it's the different level themes. So in a sense they are different worlds, but they aren't literally different worlds. And because they only these level gimmicks only come out so many times, they never really feel particularly stale, when they very much have the potential of being so. So that's totally fine by me. And seeing as kind of I've pretty much done doing the majority of the major explanations for the game in terms of its gameplay and so on, it's probably time to deal with the elephant in the room, which is Rodea's development history. So, the game was originally alluded to, or at least public knowledge of it happened when Yuji Naka made an allusion to the game in 2010, where he described a very original action game based in the sky. And I think I remember hearing that and being rather excited. And then there was a bit of development time, and then I think the build was shown off to CVG, Computer and Video Games, and they praised the early build, kind of drawing comparisons to Naka's other games like Nights into Dreams and Sonic the Hedgehog. They were very happy with it and thought, this looks good. And it was obviously officially revealed. There was a trailer, I think, late 2010, maybe E3 2010 even. And I remember seeing it and thinking, oh my god, this game looks amazing. Like, it was charming, had kind of a really wonderful song, which is called Dino, in it, and it was just captivating. But, and then apparently Naka revealed that in 2011 the Wii version of the game was finished, but they needed their publisher to kind of, you know, actually publish it. There was apparently interest from XGamerRichy in localizing the project for North America, but kind of years passed without any kind of release from Kadokawa Games. And in 2012, Polygon interviewed Yuji Naka, and he said that he was unsure what was going to happen with the game, because in 2011 it was finished. Like, it could have been released into the wild. But what had happened was that, I think in the process of getting Kadokawa Games as the publisher, they had struck a deal whereby Probe could make the game they wanted on the Wii, as long as Kadokawa could make a Wii U well, not a Wii U version, a 3DS version, because they thought that would, I think, they thought that would make more money, because obviously it was kind of the up-and-coming console at the time. And perhaps it could have done, but they took so long on the 3DS version of the game that, heck, even by 2013 the 3DS version just simply wasn't ready. I think Kadokawa Games' president Yoshimi Yasuda, who is the other producer on the project, who is the guy who I think you need to send a lot of your complaints to about Rodea, revealed in July 2013 that the 3DS version of the game was roughly 70% finished. So, a full 2 years after the Wii version was complete and could have been released, the 3DS version was still not done. But he did reiterate that the Wii and 3DS versions of the game were not cancelled.
Okay, that's 3.
The game then went silent again for about a year, and in May 2014 Kadokawa Games filed a trademark for the game, although they slightly tweaked the title so that there was a colon in it. But either way, then November 2014, they announced that the home version of the game had switched platforms from the Wii to the Wii U, and that the game was scheduled to be released in spring 2015. Because, seeing as it had taken them so long to develop the 3DS version, the Wii U had come out, and obviously they had to kind of, well, the Wii was dead. What was the point in releasing the game on a dead console? So, obviously quite a lot of time had to be spent getting that thing up and running. But they did reveal that the Wii version would be released as a free bonus that would come bundled with the Wii U version of the game during its initial print. And that is exactly what happened. In Japan, Rodea met its spring 2015 release date on April 2nd, but NIS America, who had taken on localization duties, ended up delaying the game, initially from September 22nd to October 13th, and then once more to the middle of November, citing ongoing technical difficulties. But then, finally, the game was released on November 10th on all formats, and, well, in America anyway, and then in Europe it was November 13th, and Australia November 19th. So, that is sort of the debacle that happened. Now, you would have thought that the Wii U version of the game, considering Kadokawa stated that the home version of the game had switched platforms, you would have thought that, you know, the Wii U version would be a Wii U version of this game. So, a kind of remastering / port of the Wii version that was the game as it was originally intended. That is simply not the case. The Wii U version is an up-port of the 3DS version, because that's the game that Kadokawa Games made. So while it's got the same plot, roughly, it's got the same cutscenes, the same level designs, the fundamental gameplay is totally different. And that accounts for so many of the problems that Rodea has received since it's been released. Because not only was there very limited review copies for the game, I think because NIS probably realised that the versions that Kadokawa wanted to push were a technical mess, as well as a creative mess. And because of that, there were, I think, even fewer versions of the Wii version available to reviewers. So, if you look at reviews for Rodea the Sky Soldier, they are primarily of the Wii U version and the 3DS version, and the majority of those reviews are mixed to negative. And it was depressing to see all of those reviews, because there was, or at least there has been, a fundamental misunderstanding of Rodea's development process and release. Because I think a lot of reviewers thought that Rodea Wii U was going to be what Rodea Wii was meant to be, just on the Wii U, and no. But thankfully there are people who did review the Wii version, and the Wii version got mixed to positive reviews. And that is quite right, in my opinion. Because this is what Yuji Naka envisioned. This is the game how it's meant to be. Bright, colourful, fun. Not kind of, as I believe Cube 3's Albert Richy stated, the ugly visuals, unyielding frame rate, and a nightmarish control system. That was the case in the Wii U version. And it's depressing. Some people managed to find some enjoyment in the horrendous Wii U version, but like, I mean, somebody, I think it was Chris, Destructoid's Chris Carter, gave it a 7 out of 10, totally undeserved, I think, saying it really hits that sweet spot when it comes to evoking the wonder of flight, but the troubled developmental process is tangible in the final build. For those of you who can stomach an older experience, however, you'll likely overlook some of its issues and find a lot of love. Here's the thing though, Rodea Wii U is not really an older experience. Rodea Wii U was evidently put into development around 2012, 2013. Probably 2013, 2014. So it's just like, how is it so dated? I think the answer to that is because they decided to, you know, go with the 3DS version of the game that they developed, which obviously can't handle as much as, say, the Wii U version. Heck, even the Wii version can do more. So it's just a mess all around. The fact that the Wii version is only available via the first print of the Wii U version is just despicable, in my opinion. Because what they could have done, very easily, is, alongside doing that kind of first print release of the Wii version with Rodea, they could have done a digital download of the game. It's unlikely to be that horrendously big, and I think people would have gone out of their way to purchase a digital version of the Wii version. But as it stands, people were not willing to pay for the Wii U version when it's so clearly so horrendously bad, and it was never really clearly stated whether, well, how long that first print would run for. I don't know whether it is still possible to get the Wii version of Rodea anywhere, because that first print run may have finished now. If it has, I pity anybody that wanted to play this game, because it's going to easily be one of the rarest titles the Wii, I think, has ever seen. Because it's had such a limited run. And the thing is that more people should be able to play Rodea the Sky Soldier in this form, because it's a really fun and good game. And despite its flaws, and there are quite a few, I will defend this game to the death. In most respects, anyway. And I will forever be cursing Kadokawa Games for their fundamental mistreatment of this project. Because it's just ridiculous. And that has been a rather lengthy rant, and thankfully it is one that, while I will be going on about probably numerous times throughout this run, and also if/when I do a co-commentary of the title, which will be going, or will most likely be going up on Hellfire Commentaries, I will try and, well, I'll try my damnedest to move away from that level of negativity and focus on the game at hand. Because while Kadokawa Games obviously seriously screwed up, I think we need to spend the majority of the time when dealing with Rodea talking about Yuji Naka and the team at Prope. Because they're the ones who put their heart and soul into this project, and who've been severely screwed over. So I think that they're the ones that we need to talk about and give the majority of the, not publicity of the game towards, but sort of most of the discussion needs to be focused around them and the project they made. The Wii U version and the 3DS version can just go die in a fire for all I care. But that is Chapter 4 finished, along with my rant, and we're going to go into Chapter 5, which is our first boss chapter, which is going to be rather fun. And here we have a massive kind of colossal titan, and its name is Deogordam, the Steel Titan. Now, looking at this boss, there is a rather key comparison that I think needs to be made. The kind of main bosses in Rodea the Sky Soldier are perhaps a little too close, shall we say, to Shadow of the Colossus bosses. In fact, in the Wii U version of the game, this particular boss is called a Colossus. And yeah, it's even more apparent when you see some of the later bosses. But either way, I really do like these fights, because kind of they are fun, really huge enemies, and for the most part they do require a reasonably interesting use of your moves. I mean, there is one boss in particular that is my favourite, and that's the boss of Chapter 15. But all of the others are still pretty gosh damn fun in the Wii version. But yeah, unfortunately the one niggle I do have is that getting that final hit isn't always the most climactic of experiences. Sometimes they just you just sort of hit them and they just go, oh, they're dead. But still, it was a rather fun fight, not that it lasted particularly long, and the first Kronos Tower is destroyed. Hell yeah!
You did it!
Yeah!
So, World 1 is finished. Time to head on to World number 2.